Hey, hi, this is Bill Crespo. I want to share with you my journey that's taken me from high school all the way up to where I'm right now. A guy coaching and helping people get to their next level. I started off wanting all my life to become a FBI agent. Yes, I want to be an FBI agent. I saw it on Ephraim Zimbalist in the FBI when I was a kid, and I just said, oh my gosh, I need to be that guy. Plus, I wear nice suits. I say, hey, that's a nice little thing to do. And so I really like criminology. And things started to happen. I left high school, went to college, and realized that college life at the beach is a whole lot different than what I thought college life was going to be, and only lasted a short amount of time. They told me to leave. I said, really? And they said yes, and only lasted about a year and a half. Now, I joined at that time the Justice Department in Norfolk, Virginia, and started my journey into the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. Because I really enjoyed learning about that, but didn't realize that there's a pathway to special agent. And at that time, believe it or not, it was like 5,000 people on a list to become a special agent. Now, being the impatient Puerto Rican that I am, I just started off at a very low level of a GS grade and started doing fingerprint technician work. Okay, now for those of you that don't know what that is, if you know what ridges and whorls are, those are your little designs on your fingertips that you have to put into a code and put into that little sheet where your prints are, and they now take that code and search that code in the files to see whether or not you've been arrested before or you're now in the file because something happened. So I lasted about, I don't know, maybe about a year, almost a year. I was actually waiting tables at night. So I left I got there at 7 o'clock in the morning in the HOV lanes, for those who are in high occupancy vehicle lane, to get you to work on time with a bunch of other people in the car early in the morning. Got to the Justice Department in Washington, D.C. at 7 a.m. and started my really dangerous career of looking at fingerprints all day long. Okay? Now, while I'm there, I go, wow, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. There are people that were doing fingerprints. It was so funny. There's magnifying glasses. You actually look at the prints on the paper, and then you have to code it. And then there were people walking around with these black rings around their eyes. I go, what was going on? And I realized that sometimes people put black magic marker or something on their magnifying glass, and they were walking around with this, with this black ring on. I go, wow, this reminds me of something. Junior high. So I go, this is what I thought it would be. So I'm waiting tables at night because really you're not making a lot of money as a GS negative something, because I wasn't on the top of the list there. So you had a bunch of 20-year-olds working there from all over the country. And I said, I'm going to wait tables at night to make some extra money. So this is a steak and ale type of place, and I'm serving food to the people, and I'm passing by the lounge. And I look to my left, and I go, wow, well, it seems like a fun thing going on over there. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it looks a little bit different than having to look at ridges and whorls all day long and driving early in the morning. And I asked the guy, I said, listen, what do you do, and how do you do what you do? He goes, well, I'm a disc jockey, and we work for a company here in Washington, D.C., and, if you're interested, we're hiring. And I go, well, I don't know. So I come from Spanish family. If you vote, for those of you that are come from Latin descent, a normal discussion sounds like an argument, and an argument sounds like an atom bomb went off. So guess what I did? I told my parents, you know what, this FBI thing is not working out. It's too long to be a special agent. I don't have the degree, so I'm going to do the most dangerous next job, become a DJ. That went over not really well at the Crespo House in Northern Virginia. And so I started my career as a salesperson for the company, selling entertainment to the high schools, colleges, and these tour companies that are coming into Washington, D.C., the hotels. And then I started on my journey becoming a disc jockey. So most of my 20s was in the entertainment business. I was learning how to become a disc jockey and making sales calls all day long to book disc jockeys for dances, doing major events around the Washington, D.C. metro area. Well, that started really my sales career of learning how to prospect over the phone, getting rejected, and making appointments. But I really enjoyed the close. And when they actually bought something, that was great. Now, I also really enjoyed the emceeing, the DJing, having that controlling that crowd out there that's dancing. And so I did that for a while. So I ended up really looking at an ad that I found about selling franchises. And I started a career in probably about 25 years old in selling dental franchises of all things. Now, still modeling at night or whenever they booked me. And then I started learning how to formally make sales. And I had to go door to door to dentists all over the metropolitan DC area. Let me tell you something. What an interesting group of professionals those people are. The highest rate of suicide in any profession at that time was dentistry. You know, they deal in small, little confined areas. They really don't know a lot about business. They just want to do their job. And what we were doing, we were selling a new way of a profit center, developing a profit center for them in their office. And that was developing a restorative practice, meaning a dental cleaning practice, because the dentists at the time did all the cleanings. They did everything. They didn't have any really anything but assistants. They didn't have any hygienists. So our company called Smiles came in. It was started from Tufts University up in Boston. And what we're going to do is sell them on the concept. My job was to go in, knock on the door, talk to the dentist and say, listen, I'd like to talk to you about developing another profit center. Would you like to come to our location in Tysons Corner, Virginia, and come to the presentation? So my job was to have the conversation with the dentist, know where their pain points are, see if they wanted to grow their practice, and invite them in. But there was a series of conversations that took place. Let me just tell you something. I got kicked out of some very nice dental offices in Capitol Hill. You know, people yelling at the dentist from the back of the operatory, tell him to leave, don't let him in. And so that was the beginning of rejection for me in sales. And so I continued with it. I had a lot of really great experience with that and decided I'm going to move on. But there was a guy, my manager of my territory was formerly in real estate. He said, you know, you're great at sales, but I think you'd be better in real estate. I said, really? What's that all about? And he says, you know, I've been in it for a couple of years. I got out of it, but I'm going to go back into it. Would you be interested? I said, man, if it makes some money, I'll be into it. But you got to get your license. So now I'm DJing still at night and at this restaurant club up in Tysons Corner. And I'm actually studying for the class next to my DJ equipment at night. Took the class in the daytime, passed the class, boom. Now I have my license and I go to where my former manager was at this real estate office, and now that started my career. Now, at the time, just getting married and then had 2 kids, and that brings on a whole lot of pressure, right? Children, new house, bills, more money, and I had to prospect. And so I didn't know how to do this whole thing of getting more leads. You know, you sit on your desk and leads come to you. That didn't happen fast enough. I did make my first sale off of a walk-in, but I had to now find business. And I started off doing for sale by owners and knocking on their door and letting them know that I'm here to help them, and start listing some houses, a lot of houses, and had some success in that. So had to be regimented. I had my little, at that time you had to cut out the ads for sale by owners, give them a call, go see the house, and there was a whole program that I did that I learned, and it actually started getting me listings. So I'm doing that for a couple of years. I'm top producer in the office, and then they go, you know, they got me something else. I'm always looking to keep moving. I want to learn the business side. And they fire the mentor that actually got me into real estate. So I leave the company. And then I'm asked to come back to manage that same office that I had left when my mentor had left, and to run that company. I said, well, management may be good. There'll be more money in management. Well, let me just tell you, and you probably know this already, there is no money in managing an office unless you own it somewhat. And the agents are making more than the manager is. So I had to learn that experience managing that office and actually managing the people that I worked with. Now I'm their boss. And lo and behold, a friend of mine was with another company and took me away and said, listen, you need to run this company. It was Century 21 at the time. And we were a dead last in the region. Dead last. Out of 300 some offices on the East Coast, we go in and we're dead last. I was like 32 or 33. He was 1 year younger than me. And now we're managing this office and we had to recruit. And so we hired a person to come in to actually teach us and train us. I said, we had to learn something because what we're doing right now, it ain't working and we're last out of 300 some offices. How can we do something? He goes, well, I met this guy who does tech sales training up in Tyson's Corner. Let's meet him. So this guy comes in. Now let me tell you something. He was the #1 salesperson in the Sandler Sales Institute nationwide out of Tyson's Corner, and came in and did his thing to us, meaning his process of selling us on his services. And let me tell you something, it just blew my mind. I mean, it was so smooth. It was so no pushiness, no awkwardness. He was just asking questions. And then I started going, this guy is doing something to us, and whatever it is, it feels fine. And you just want to just give him your wallet. So I learned a lot about that. And we hired him. We went from dead last in the region to up in the top 10 in less than 18 months. It was fascinating. You know, people wanted to work for us, and it was really neat. And I go, okay, I'll continue the march. Got into selling for the Century 21 franchises because I had that franchise background, and continued moving up, wanting to learn more. So because I left him, we did well, went back to Virginia Beach, Virginia, and started to live my life here and started doing things corporately for the region. So things happened, and unfortunately I had a divorce. My kids at the time were 6 and 8. And it was tough, guys. And I know if you've gone through a divorce, you know how tough it is. And now I'm back going, of what I'm going to do. I didn't expect this from happening. And now I'm stuck going, what do I do? I got into management and it wasn't bringing enough money. I got to get back into sales. You know, you look at people and go, gosh, if he could do that, I could do that. And so I got into sales. I hired a coach. And that coach was a national coach. Some of you know who the person is. And really taught me what it takes to get consistent business every month. And it wasn't fun. Why? Because I had to get on that phone and prospect. And so I prospected. I made 100 contacts a day. Actually, I went up to him and I said, you know, I've got a little bit of money left and I really need to get production up. He says, make 100 contacts a day. And by the way, I'm also divorced. Don't talk to me about that. I've been married 2 or 3 times, and walks away. I go, okay. So at the time, we didn't have those dialers that you have right now. Okay, there wasn't a dialer. So we had to actually physically make a lot of calls because I couldn't afford $5,000 for the dialer. I had to actually take 2 phones, 2 different lines, 2 headsets, use sometimes people would pick up at the same time and I'd use one script, which is really fun, and really make 100 contacts a day by just grinding it out every morning. And believe me, it's tough, but in less than 90 days, I'm top listing agent.